You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit, on the Locked On Podcast.
Hey, welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast and a little flip of the score. The Tigers shut out the Yankees this time around. Baseball is a strange, beautiful game, as someone said in the comments already, and that's exactly what this afternoon was. 4-0 win for the Detroit Tigers. Spencer Torkelson is back. Jace Jung has his first 2 career MLB hits. We're going to discuss it all, but before we do, how about a sincere thanks to each and everyone who makes Locked On Tigers postcast your post-game destination following the final out of every single game. Happy to be on the air with you. It's always a pleasure. And don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit because we got a doubleheader today. That's right. Following the Lions preseason game, we've got a Locked On Lions postcast, and it's all part of the Locked On Network, your team every single day. And a reminder, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, on YouTube as well, Locked On Sports Detroit. That's the easiest way to listen. But if you want the audio-only version, certainly understand that as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, your team every single day. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. That's right. The most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports is Prize Picked, and it's easy as well. All you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. How about that, sports fans? A first deposit match up to $100. It's all made possible at prizepicks.com. This is one of those shows I wish we had 2 hours because I want to break it all down, discuss Keider Montero, what a game he had. He didn't even make the marquee, but my goodness, this Tigers bullpen dominates. The bullpen does fantastic. Keider Montero was excellent, and just one of those days that checks so many boxes when you think about how good this Tigers team was with Keider Montero starting and into the bullpen with Foley getting the save. Got a little dicey there at the end, but hey, Comerica Park was just big enough for that final out. And Tyler Holton, my goodness, he just continues to dominate. What a day for him as well. We'll start with Keider Montero. He gets his 4th win, 5 innings, 2 hits, did not allow a single run, struck out 5, just the 2 walks. And obviously, that's a really good Yankees lineup. I mean, you look at the teeth of the order, you see Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. Those are 2 guys that Keider Montero did a tremendous job against, limiting to just 1 hit between the 2 of them. And that was late in the game, Aaron Judge's leadoff double in the 9th, where he just smoked that ball. But up and down this Yankees lineup, the Tigers pitching collectively just silenced those bats all around today. Just 4 hits in the shutout effort. And you can't say enough about how good Keider Montero, Tyler Holton, and Jason Foley were. I mean, you look at the box score from the pitching perspective, 5 innings from Montero, 3 from Holton, 1 from Foley, and bing, bang, bingo, bango, bongo, the Tigers have shut out the New York Yankees. And again, it's one of those games that just, and we're going to get to the comments in just a second. I see them loading up there on Locked On Sports Detroit on the YouTube, which I appreciate. But at the same time, we got a lot to discuss. Spencer Torkelson back with the big league lineup. And I talked to a lot of people on this, and I get it. There's mixed feelings. And you might say I was one way, now I'm the other, but I want to see the guys succeed. I was in favor of him being sent down to figure it out, but I'm not in favor of closing the book on Spencer Torkelson yet. I know some people are, and I saw stuff online during the game that, hey, if he comes back and just rakes for the entire season, then it complicates things even more. I'm not ready to close the book on Spencer Torkelson. First overall pick. You got a 30 home run hitter last year. And I know it was all production in the back half of the season, and maybe that was the outlier. And what we saw this year is truly who Spencer Torkelson is. But maybe the send down, refresh, regroup, albeit kind of an extended send down for the majority of the summer, is what Spencer Torkelson needed. So obviously he's going to be under a microscope the rest of the season. And test number 1 today, fantastic. 2 extra base hits. And I do want to talk about him getting thrown out at home, though. Not not the best there to make the first out at home after that leadoff triple. However, and both Dan Dickerson and Alex Avila touched on it with Benetti being out on Saturday. So we had Dickerson and Alex Avila on the telecast, and they both said they liked the aggression, and it was kind of a funky play the way his near side arm, if he's doing the head first slide at home, kind of got stuck, and the right arm that was extended, he wasn't able to touch the plate with that because he beat the throw. And, by beating the throw, it would tell you, hey, his instincts were right to go home. He's just got to execute the slide a little bit better. Kind of a fluky play all the way around. But at the same time, you kind of run yourself out of an inning there with a leadoff triple because the Tigers didn't get any runs there. But all that to say, hey, what we saw from Spencer Torkelson in his return to the lineup was pretty sweet. 2 extra base hits. The first at bat, the double might have been one of the more impressive at bats we've seen from Torkelson in a while, because earlier in that bat, he had a long fly ball, had home run distance, and just missed keeping it fair. And so to be able to regroup and then go the other way, both of his extra base hits were the other way. And that first one, that double, was off a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. So love what you saw there. And the clutch hitting. I put this on Twitter. It was clutch hitting early in the game from guys that, and I know we got naysayers in the comments, and that's okay. That's what makes this fun, differencing in opinions. And there's been a lot of people critical of Zach McKinstry, and rightfully so, because it's not like he has lit the world on fire by any means. 2 more hits today. He had the RBI with 2 outs. That was clutch, and good to see the Tigers making the most of those opportunities early in the game to give Keider Montero a little bit of cushion there with the 4 runs in the first 2 innings. And Keider Montero and this Tigers bullpen did the rest. But Andy Ibanez continues to mash against lefties. The 2-run double for him, that was clutch. You love to see that as well, coming with 2 outs. And then Colt Keith with the also had the RBI to complete the Tigers scoring. So see what I mean when we got a lot of different things that we can delve into and discuss, and a nice bounce back. And I love it when it's a short window after your team plays poorly. So Friday night game, quick turnaround into a Saturday afternoon game, quick start right after 1 there, and the Tigers wasted no time. So it was Colt Keith in the bottom of the first with that single to score Justin Henry Malloy, and then that second you saw Zach McKinstry single home Torkelson after his double, and then Andy Ibanez with the big 2-run double. And that's all the Tigers needed with the day that the pitching staff put forward, led by Keider Montero. Awesome stuff. And hey, let's go for a series win tomorrow against the Yankees in that Little League World Series Classic in Williamsport. But if you heard the broadcast, they talked about the weather kind of being in question, a little bit dicey there. So we'll see how that all plays out. But 4-0 win for the Tigers. Awesome bounce back. Keider Montero, 5 innings of scoreless work. Tyler Holton was excellent in relief, 3 innings of scoreless work, and Jason Foley closed the door. Got a little dicey, a little dramatic, but the Tigers win nonetheless. And Spencer Torkelson, 2 extra base hits in his return, RBIs for Zach McKinstry, Colt Keith, and Andy Ibanez. Now let's get to the comments, because hey, it's a Saturday afternoon. It's the first of 2 Locked On Detroit postcasts. Our second one will be following the Lions and Chiefs preseason game. So always an enjoyable time to throw out a little Saturday doubleheader. That's what we love. But let's get in on the comments. S-Dog leads us off. He's been gone a while. This looks like it was a great win. Can't wait to see the highlights. Youngsters getting first hits in their first few games. Loving it. Future is bright with the sunglass emoji. Yeah, get those sunglasses on. The future is so bright. That's right. I know it's early, but hey, and someone made the point of, at least the Tigers are really, really interesting right now, because there's so many different evaluations going on in these final 40 games of the season, and guys that are really, really hoping to make a name for themselves. And obviously from the management side with Scott Harris and the rest of the organization, trying to see what you have in certain guys. And for Torque, I guess we could start with Spencer Torkelson. I got to believe there's such an element of pressure internally that he's putting on himself, because I think this truly is, these 40 games are the make it or break it. Are you a part of this team's future or are you not? And I don't know if it's as simple as saying, hey, if he hits this gets this OPS, gets, puts up these stats, then yeah. And if he does, it's not that simple, but you trust I don't know if you trust, but you're forced, you're forced to trust Scott Harris in that front office in terms of evaluating what pieces are a part of this young core moving forward. And that's for Jace Jung. I know the defense had been kind of the knock on him, but he made a couple of really nice plays. Arm might be a little bit of a weakness. There was the one play, deep in the hole that was an infield hit, but I don't think there's not a lot of third basemen that are able to make that throw to get the out. But point being, I thought Jace Jung's defense, at least for the first two games, have been just fine. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. And yeah, a lot of young guys that are playing their way into being a part of this future of the Detroit Tigers. So Tigers win it 4-0. I went a little bit long in this open, so we got to keep the lights on here, and then we'll get back to the comments and talk a little bit more about how good Keider Montero was today, how good Tyler Holton's been. That guy has played himself into one of the premier relief pitchers in baseball. And as always, we will tie a bow on this one. Locked On Sports Detroit, just getting started on a Saturday doubleheader. Don't go anywhere. Back in just a moment. This episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is brought to you by Liquid IV. Go to liquidiv.com. Use code MLB for 20% off your first order. Here's what I'll start with Liquid IV. If you like flavor and you know the importance of hydration, look no further than Liquid IV. Because when you're taking in America's pastime, you can't forget to hydrate. And the best way to hydrate is with Liquid IV's Popsicle Firecracker flavor. It's a surefire summer hit. Now, try not to get too thirsty when I explain how delicious this is. Blast off with iconic summer flavors of the Popsicle Firecracker. Festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon lime, tart cherry, and raspberry flavors. My mouth is watering just talking about it. But listen, we know the importance of hydration, whether it be with your workouts or maybe you need it after a night of, one too many adult pops. And the next day, you got to be at your best. Start the day with Liquid IV. All you do is tear, pour, live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates you better than water alone. It's all powered by the Live Hydra Science and optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. Sold? I think so. Check out all the flavors for yourself at liquidiv.com. Pro tip, the pina colada flavor, also delicious. So no more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. Once again, that's 20% off your first order. And when you shop Better Hydration today, use that promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. All right, went a little long in the open, and I apologize. I just had a lot to say and a lot to be excited about. So let's get back to the comments. If you're just joining us on Locked On Sports Detroit, we thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. Don't forget to make your second listen Locked On MLB. That's right. It's an awesome show. Allows you to keep up to date on everything during the dog days of summer. Your host, Pat Sullivan, aka Sully, here to provide national expertise with his trademark humor and help you get ready for the MLB playoffs. It's all happening on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. I'll say this about Keider Montero is he has started to seize the moment and make the most of those opportunities, which you love to see. And today was one more example of him trying to play himself as a part of next year's rotation moving forward. And I think he did a lot of that tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. The combination of him and Dylan Dingler behind the plate, good battery mate. Dylan Dingler, another one of those young players that is under the microscope in terms of how he performs. He was 0 for 4 at the plate and also had that pass ball in the ninth. But that being said, anytime you can call a game and shut out the New York Yankees and command your pitching staff the way that Dylan Dingler did today, I think that's certainly of note. Now, for Keider Montero, 87 pitches, went 5+ innings, just the 2 hits and the 5 strikeouts. I thought the way he was able to get first pitch strike was really important. 13 out of 19. He got that first pitch strike and had his stuff, had the good command of everything today. So checking a lot of boxes for the performance from Keider Montero. But let's get back to the comments, because like I said, I've been blabbing too much, and we've got a lot of people that want to weigh in. Kevin81, love to see the young guys get the victory. Time for full-time Sweeney. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that as well. Javi Baez, I put it out on Twitter. Javi Bobble, good one, Jake. Javi Bobble, he bobbled a sure tailor-made double play there early in the game. Didn't come back to haunt the Tigers though, but yeah, I wouldn't mind. You guys know I'm all for a new shortstop. We could put you or I out there. And in fact, we could put Skeetwood Mack out there. I think he's played some shortstop in his day. I'd rather him at shortstop than Javi Baez. But the Detroit baseball Tigers, absolutely. Demetrius McNeil, who was at the game. Spencer is back, and the Tigers held the Yankees scoreless. Scooble night baseball. That's right. As long as the weather cooperates, the Tigers will try to go for a series win with Tarek Skubal on the mound Sunday night. All right, Gareth Ridings, Jace Jung had a great game. Yeah, Jace Jung definitely had a great game, and loved the interview with his family. Of course, Natalie Kerwin always doing a great job with the interviews during the telecast. And I thought Jace Young's father was hilarious. You know, he has the coach in him saying, if the game gets rained out, then that first hit doesn't count. And his mom saying, oh, it still counts. There was a funny dynamic, and always good to see, especially a baseball family like that. Obviously, his older brother, Josh Young, with the Texas Rangers, World Series champion. And I mean, Josh Young, if you saw the message he sent to Jace on his MLB debut, he said, you know, Jace is better than me. And Josh Young has certainly had a great start to his career with the Texas Rangers. All right. Gabriel, I knew we'd win today. Time to win tomorrow. I'm so happy with how we looked. Everyone put in work today. Exactly. This is, and I know I'm repetitive with this, and I say it time and time again, but over the course of 162 games, you're going to have, you know, games you remember more than others. And when we get to next year, and I hate to, you know, it's not like we're punting on this season. We've talked at length about the importance of these last 40 games, but when we start to turn the page to next year, and, you know, you start to get that itch for spring training, and you start to think, what's this team going to look like next year? You're going to remember games like these where those young guys were on full display. Aaron Rao, I kind of agree with you here. Just wow with the exclamation points. You love to see that. And who we ask? Skeetwood Mac. Javi continues to mystify me. Yeah, get him off the team. I mean, it's, you know, that's another thing this offseason. Are the Tigers, Scott Harris, Chris Ilitch, going to be serious about the direction moving forward? I think one thing that they could do to send a message to the fans is just eat it with Javi. Buy him out and just be done. Turn the page, swing and a miss, move on. I don't think, and not that a general manager's job is to please the fan base, but I don't think there'd be one single fan that would be opposed to that move. And it would signify that this team is serious about winning, is serious about moving forward. And I mean, look at, I know I can't stand the Houston Astros as an organization, as a team, but they said goodbye to Jose Abreu, who's a former MVP, because he just wasn't performing. He wasn't a part of the team's future moving forward. He wasn't helping them win. And I'm not saying they sent him on his way packing, but since they have, look at them now, first place in the AL West. And not saying that you have to adopt whatever the Astros do, but just as an example, for comparison's sake, when a player, nobody's off limits, is kind of what that message would send, I think, if you're Scott Harris and the rest of the Tigers organization. All right, we're continuing on. A lot of comments to catch up on, which we certainly appreciate here on the Locked On Tigers postcast. Dan is up next. Didn't catch the game. Has anyone else shut out the Yanks this year? That's a great win. Good question. I should get my research department on that. That research department also doubles as the graphics department, which doubles as the producing department, which doubles as the on air. So that would be me. And I do not have the numbers in front of me. But I'm not sure if they've been shut out. The Yankees went through some serious struggles earlier this season. I'm sure at one of those times they were shutout at some time. Jason Walter, yes, surprisingly, New York has been shut out this year. There we go. All right, appreciate that. Maritime Adam is next. Nice bounce back win this afternoon. Nice game for Torque today. Pitching did not fall apart. Looked dominant. Montero especially. Exactly. That's a great way to put it, Adam, is it just checks so many boxes. And again, you store this one in the memory bank for what this team potentially could look like moving forward. And if the right guys get healthy, I mean, and again, I'm not punting on this season because we know how important the evaluation is going to be down the stretch here. But man, it's days like these where I can legitimately, and you guys know me, I'm transparent. I'm going to say whatever's comes to my mind for better or for worse, but I'm not going to BS about, or gaslight as some of the faces of the organization, Scott Harris, will do and just say, yeah, the young core. Yeah. No, this was a day where you could be excited about the future and the direction of this team. Now, the other part of it, which I've talked about at length, is go get some supporting pieces in the offseason, spend some money. The young core is in place. Get the complementary pieces that are going to take this team to the next level and get back to competing for championships, and none of this low budget, small market crap that the Tigers have employed for the last decade, if you will. All right, let's do it. We've got one more segment to get to, and as always, like I said, appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't go anywhere. I want to be respectful to each and every person's comment on here. We'll do our best to get that and then look ahead to tomorrow night's game, the Little League Classic, if there is a game. And don't forget, we've got a doubleheader today as well. Wow, lots going on here on Locked On Sports Detroit. Back in a moment. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. That's right, Prize Picks. The most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports is on Prize Picks. If you don't know by now, what the heck are you waiting for? It's real simple. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' projected stat lines, and you watch the winnings roll on in. Get in on the daily action with your friends. Become part of the Prize Picks community. All you have to do is pick more or less on players' projected stat lines. It's just you against the numbers. You're not playing against a bunch of sharks or anything like that. Just beat the projections. That's what it's all about. And now you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You turn $10 into $1,000. That's right. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. And don't forget, Prize Picks available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And that's right, I love playing Prize Picks. Do it all the time. You pick more, you pick less. It's that easy. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, we tie a bow on this one after a 4-0 Tigers victory over the Yankees. You love to see it. Keider Montero, 5 innings of shutout ball. Impressive stuff. He gets the win. He's 4-5. Gave up just 2 hits, struck out 5. Tyler Holton, 3 innings of scoreless work, and on to close the door. Although technically my mistake. I said he got the save. It was a 4-run game. That's on me. Does not get the save, but Jason Foley shuts the door in the 9th. And hey, look up when you look at the matchup tomorrow, it's a good one. Marcus Stroman for the Yankees, Tarek Skubal for the Tigers. Stroman's 8-6, 4.01 ERA. Skubal obviously going for his 15th win, 14-4, 2.53 ERA, 180 strikeouts. He's been so good. And I think, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Corbin Burns got roughed up a little bit yesterday for the Orioles by the Red Sox, I believe. I'm going to double check, but I would say the Cy Young is Tarek's to win at this point. And, Bruce Bochy, love you, man. I know he's the reigning manager of the manager of the reigning World Series champs, but Tarek should have started the All-Star game. Tarek Skubal should have started the All-Star game, not Corbin Burns. But hey, to each their own. All right, that's going to be a fun game. And again, I mentioned it once, but probably worth repeating that there is some concern with the weather in Williamsport because obviously part of Players Weekend, which I wanted to talk about real quick. I thought it was neat to see all the different cleats and bats and everything with the artwork on everything that the causes that the near and dear to the players' hearts on full display. That was pretty cool too as part of Players Weekend. But tomorrow is the big Little League Classic at Williamsport between the Tigers and Yankees, and hopefully weather permitting that is able to withstand and not get rained out. But that being said, appreciate everybody tuning in as always, making Locked On Tigers postcast your first listen. For your second listen, check out Locked On MLB. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully's got it all covered every single day. You can find it on Locked On MLB. It's also part of the Locked On Network. And don't forget, we've got Locked On Lions postcast following the Lions and Chiefs preseason game today. Patrick Mahomes is going to play a lot in that game, apparently. The starters are going to be in for the Kansas City Chiefs. So how about that? And for me, I will be on Locked On Lions postcast immediately following the final whistle in that one. Almost said final out, but it's all on the same platform, Locked On Sports Detroit. And for this one, how about a win for the Detroit Tigers? 4-0 over the New York Yankees. You love to see it. They'll go for the series win against the Yankees tomorrow. Tarek Skubal on the bump. You love to see it. Let's see if the Tigers can go get a series win. So that's going to do it for me this time. But hey, like I said, we've got a double header today. So Locked On Lions will come your way in a few hours. I'm going to time it up. It's going to time up pretty well because this Locked On Tigers postcast is going to end. And we've got Locked On Lions getting set to go following the conclusion of this one. All part of the Locked On Sports Detroit Network. All right. We'll talk to you next time. And as always, appreciate you subscribing. Tell a friend about Locked On Sports Detroit. Go ahead and like the video as well. Spencer Torkelson, 2 extra base hits in his return. Jace Jung, first 2 career hits. And the Tigers, Andy Ibanez, 2 RBI. Zach McKinstry with an RBI. Colt Keith with an RBI. And Keider Montero with his 4th win of the season. Now 4-5 on the year. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday and hope you'll join me for Locked On Lions postcast at the conclusion of that game as well. Have a wonderful afternoon and we'll talk to you next time on Locked On Sports Detroit.